welcome back to Talk with TQ. I'm really happy to be here. I'm really happy you're here with me because I'm always thrilled because I have you and I always have a fantastic guest, somebody very interesting. Tonight, I'm a yoga instructor. Her name is Karen Faulkner. She has a yoga company that's called Inner Being Yoga. I'm really anxious to talk with her about this because she'll be telling us a little bit about her work with adults with special needs population and how she got into this field. I'm always curious about how some people pick their fields of endeavor. And as we all know, yoga is something that could be very helpful to all of us. It's about the Eastern thought. I'm going to ask her about that. Welcome, Karen. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Pleasure to be here.
So how did you get into this field? You know, it sounds like you're working with different learning populations. And what is the premise? What is your mission with Inner Being Yoga? And what sets you apart?
So I've been in the dental field for over 25 years. I deal with patient care every day, catering to the patient, their wellness, their needs. And I was an avid runner for a very long time. And you don't have an outlet to release. Sometimes you get stuck. And so I stopped running and I found, I thought that I needed a place to just be quiet. And so I've always been into fitness, running, spin, different type of exercise classes I would dabble in here and there. But, you know, life got really busy. But I found this one yoga studio in Peekskill in 2014. And I attended this one class every Wednesday at 6 o'clock. And I found that for the first time in my career, I had to turn my phone off. And it was interesting to me because technology, we're always needing to know. We're always being needed or asked for. And for that 1 hour and 15 minutes, I was able to just be. I was able to quiet my mind and just focus on myself. And so as I attended these weekly classes, once a week, I thought to myself, I want to share what I'm experiencing with someone else because this is amazing. And unless you practice it, you really don't understand what I'm feeling, the experience that I'm, sharing with myself. And so I always say that yoga is a personal practice. It's not about coming together and doing handstands and, out of range poses and things that we look at, wow, is that a yoga pose or are you trying to be an acrobat? Which one is it? I thought that yoga for me helped me quiet my mind. Yeah. And the name Inner Being Yoga came to me because we're called human beings, right? But yes, we're always doing. So this was a chance for us to just be. So you come to class and you go inside yourself and you just be. And that's where I came up with the name Inner Being, because it was a safe place that I wanted to create for anyone and everyone that needed a timeout.
So in the poses that you do, one would do when they're doing like practicing yoga, it is about the being. I'm not going to say I'm like a yoga expert, but I know that once you learn the poses and you do the poses, it does force you to think about what you're doing with your body and how you're doing it. And there's something that happens in the mind. Oh, yeah. I know it happens, but I cannot articulate it. I've seen people that practice it regularly. I used to work in a company. I used to be in corporate world. And there was a woman in this corporation that used to go into the ladies' lounge every day for 15 minutes and just do yoga poses. She didn't care who looked, and she was very calm.
It's the best.
Yeah.
It resets the mind.
Talk about that mechanism.
So when I start a class, I always have what's called a Dharma talk, other known as setting the intention for the class. So for example, I'll talk about something personal. I was stuck in traffic, I was rushing, I was impatient, I didn't know, what was happening. I was just rushing to get to a point, and I wasn't practicing patience. And when I was stuck at that traffic light, I didn't notice the beautiful sunset that was setting on the left. Oh, I didn't notice that beautiful tree that was blooming full blossom. blossoms. We get so caught up in rushing to the next step that we forget to pause. And so in yoga, when I practice yoga with my students, we take time to be aware of what is happening in our bodies, but also our mind. What do we need today? Because every day we need something different. Some days we need acceptance. Some days we need forgiveness. Some days we need understanding. And even though it's making shapes with your body, it helps you to just say, wow, this feels really good. Oh, I don't know. I didn't know I could do that. Oh, I didn't know I was strong enough to be able to do this. I didn't know I was patient as much as I was in this pose, because we purposely hold certain poses for a different amount of time based on what the body needs.
Right. And so I guess you have to be somewhat mindful, or maybe not so mindful, of what you need. Let the pose take over. I'm wondering, I've been studying a little bit continuously about different things, and I've learned something about the different chakras.
Yes.
And my understanding is that there are poses that one can do to actually, I guess, stimulate, heal, or activate
Yes.
different chakras.
Yes. And it's referred to as opening the chakras.
Opening the chakras.
So the chakras start at the root. The Muladhara chakra is the root chakra. And that's where we talk about family and foundation and gory stuff and dirty, bloody stuff that we hold in our minds, we hold in our bodies. And, sometimes we have to work with that chakra to let things go.
Yeah.
A lot of the times in my practice, we work on the heart chakra, the throat chakra, and the core chakra, because I find that my yogis, we come together to find strength, which is the core.
Right, that's the solar plexus.
Yes, we come together to open our hearts for forgiveness and for trust, and to be able to give and receive openly and freely. And the throat chakra, to be able to speak our truth without hurting or offending the person that we're saying it to, but still being accepted by speaking our truth.
Right. So it sounds like you're working from the chin down.
Yes.
Yes. Do you ever do any work from the chin up? Talking about the third eye and the
third eye
and the crown.
and the crown of the head. So my practice is not a very spiritual practice.
Okay.
It's more of a mindful, self-love, self-care, self-acceptance practice. I don't read scripts. I don't talk about the yamas and the niyamas. We talk about those things in the form of the English language, where I want to not do this anymore, so I have to be better at this.
Right.
I want to abstain from this, so I can't do certain things. But when in yoga, a lot of people think, well, you're a yoga instructor, so you're supposed to be very spiritual and very holistic, and you're not supposed to have anger, and you're not supposed to be upset. But what I think a lot of people don't realize is that a yoga instructor, life still happens, right?
Right.
And when we talk about being able to let things go in our practice, for example, I'll say in a pose, just allow your body to melt to the mat. Just let go. And for some of us, we're holding this tension in our hips, in our shoulders, all this heaviness, because it's not just that simple to let it go.
Right.
It's a process. It happens over time. So my practice is more of teaching my students what I myself have experienced as an adult, as a child, as a mother, as an employee, as an entrepreneur. Life happens. And so when we get on our mat, every single person on their mat is dealing with something different.
Yeah.
And so I teach to who shows up. I don't just have a sequence in my head and say, this is what we're going to do today. If I have 6 people show up and I can feel the energy in the room where someone's feeling agitated or someone's uncertain or someone's nervous, I cater to poses that help to bring balance back to their bodies, to help bring confidence back to their minds and their soul. So my practice is simply about wellness.
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 So different populations. I like to talk about different learning populations. Now, I understand you work with children
Yes.
and adults, and you also work with special needs
Yes.
individuals.
Yes.
Now, tell me I'm really curious about the special needs individuals. Like, what do you do with them? What kind of special needs are there? Because there are people that have physicality that might sort of be a detriment to the things they're trying to do.
So how this whole children yoga evolved, because I have a home studio in Peekskill.
Okay.
I teach adults there. I hold classes on Tuesdays and Saturdays, and my population is 40 and above.
Okay.
And our bodies are different.
Yes.
Okay, so we cater to different bodies. Now, last September, I saw that the Peekskill Middle School was holding their first ever Saturday Academy. And it intrigued me because both my sons, I have two teenage sons, and they both attended the Peekskill School District all the way up to the middle school.
Right.
And so I decided I wanted to go and see what this was all about because this was brand new to the community. I walked in, and my business partner, Annette, she walked up to someone who was in charge of the program and said, oh, you know, Karen's a yoga instructor. And the next thing you know, I was being approached to, would you like to teach a yoga class with us? And I said, absolutely, I will do it. I will volunteer my time one Saturday a month. I would love to be a part of this. It's bigger than I thought it would ever be. One Saturday turned into a pilot program at the Hillcrest Elementary School.
Nice.
And then I got presented with an opportunity to do a special needs class on Wednesdays at Uriah Hill Elementary School at 4:30. And I was overwhelmed with the feedback. I was overwhelmed with the need for wellness in our community because I never thought it was something that our children would be open to. Can I tell you? I teach from pre-K to the high school. I am in every single building. We have six buildings in the district, in the Peekskill City School District. Every Friday, which is my day off from dentistry, I rotate from building to building, and I am there from 8 a.m. to at least 2:33 p.m. I have an assistant. Her name is Catherine, who is amazing. She's bilingual. She's wonderful with the kids. She has over 40 years of experience with child care. So she is an amazing asset to me. I couldn't do this without her. But seeing the response that I get from the pre-K, we were there 2 weeks ago, and at the morning announcement, the principal announced it's Friday yoga. And the squeals of joy.
Oh, really?
The squeals of joy from these
Yay.
5-year-olds was
Wow.
just, it overwhelmed us.
They really love it.
Yes. Now, the pre-K is one thing. You get to the high school, it's a whole different age group. You're dealing with teenagers who thinks they know everything.
Of course.
Right?
They do.
They think, well,
They think
right.
they do.
And so my yoga is not just about poses. It's about communicating. It's an exchange of. So today our theme is gratitude. Give me an example how you show gratitude. And people, questions and answers, and we raise our hands and we have conversations. And it gets their mind going. Wow,
Yeah.
this is yoga?
I'm wondering if yoga would be, because I've read a little bit about these things, that they've used it. There are some entities, and I'm wondering what your feelings are about that, who have used yoga for students, young students with behavioral problems. And apparently, what I've read is that the results are astonishing. The positive results are astonishing in terms of their change in behavior because of the mindfulness of yoga, the stillness.
The goal is skip the tension, send them to meditation.
Right. Yeah.
You know, something goes wrong in school, you get suspended. What's the conversation that happens before you get sent home? What's the conversation that happens before you come back into the building? What has changed in your mind?
Yeah.
Who's talking to our children about behavioral issues, consequences, mindfulness? Think about what you say before you say it, because once you say it, you can't take it back. Right. Awareness, being aware of your body, your personal hygiene, how you present yourself. This is all yoga to me.
Yeah.
Because yoga is not just about poses. It's about mindfulness, awareness. But to speak on the special needs class,
Yes.
this is where my happy place is.
Okay, tell me more.
every Wednesday at 4:30, I walk into the gym and my son Joshua and his best friend Joey, they're both my assistants. The children are the same ages, but they all have different needs. And so they're joined by a caregiver or a parent. They're never alone.
Oh, okay.
So it's a parent-child or caregiver-child class.
Oh, that's
And to be able to see the transformation of a child who never thought they can stand on one foot to do a tree pose, to be able to do that 6 weeks later, or with the assistance of one of my student assistants, helping them stand up straight, feel strong like a warrior, and lift 1 foot, maybe an inch off the ground. The joy it brings to them makes my heart so full.
everybody accomplishes.
Yes.
Everybody achieves that certain thing.
Yes.
You know, so I imagine you work also with people or students that have autistic problems.
They're on the spectrum, yes.
Yeah, right.
Yes.
Do you ever find somebody's extraordinary at it, being a bit of a savant?
Well, I
it's
have
just-
several participants that simply sit on their mat, and that's their yoga.
Okay.
I have participants who do their own poses, and that's their yoga. And I walk to the caregiver and I walk to the parent and I say, it's okay. You do your yoga
Yeah.
and let him or her do his yoga. We don't have a form or fashion. Everybody's on their mat. They show up every single week, no matter what.
Wow.
These children show up every single week and they walk into the gym with big smiles on their faces. They get on their mat and we don't have to do anything other than some simple stretching, some balancing poses,
Yeah.
and then their final pose, which is called Shavasana, other known as corpse pose,
Yeah.
is their most favorite pose.
Oh, I like that one. You just lay there.
They get to, but it's practicing stillness.
Yeah.
You're being in complete control of your body. So how many of us can do that? You know, we shake our legs, we wiggle our fingers.
a little tick.
Yes. And to watch them progress from not knowing any of it to being able to surrender and melt into their mats. It's
Yeah.
magic.
Surrender is the key word
It's
here.
magic.
I can imagine this. Now, I'm going to ask you about another population. There's a population of adults, you know, the really older people over 60, 70, 80, 90, you know, and I noticed, having worked a little bit with that population, that there's like often a stiffness.
Yes.
But every now and then there's someone that comes along that's like 99 years old and like Gumby, you know, and they're doing yoga or they're doing whatever they do. Do you ever work with a senior population
I
like
do.
that? Yeah, tell me about that.
My Saturday class, it's an amazing group of women. And I had one student who started with me a year ago who was not able to kneel. And every photo we take at the end of class, she's on one knee now, a year later.
Oh,
And it's so impressive to watch. And I've had one student comment on another student's age saying, is she really that age number? And I said, yeah.
yeah.
She by practicing and just showing up and doing the best that you can and learning how your body works, because yoga teaches you to learn this knee is tight, this hip is tight, the left and the rights are never the same.
Right.
So we might be in a pose where someone can be nice and limber on the right side, but when they go to the left side, it's impossible for them.
Right.
You learn about your body, and that's what we work with. And our senior population, there are classes called chair yoga.
Chair yoga, yes.
There's restorative yoga. There's also, I'm adding to my calendar in February, yin yoga and Reiki.
What is yin?
Yin yoga is a type of yoga where you hold the poses for a much longer period of time. So I'm a vinyasa instructor. So we move quite fluidly. It's we build heat. So we warm up and then we build heat and then we cool down. Yin yoga, this special instructor that's going to be joining in a Being Yoga's team, she's getting certified in the next week or two, and she will be practicing with our students, teaching them how to be patient with their bodies.
Oh.
Teaching them how to be patient in poses and not running, because sometimes when we don't feel comfortable, we begin to run and we pull away. mentally and physically. And this teaches the body how to just surrender. And that's the different aspects of yoga. And I want to build that into my practice. I want to build that into the Inner Being schedule. So we offer to everyone what everybody's looking for, a variety.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So do couples do it together? And tell me, I can imagine couples going to see you and doing the class together.
So
Mother,
I've had,
daughter, lovers, husband, wife.
so I've had all of the above. Last Saturday, I had a mom come in with her college daughter who's been visiting.
Oh, that's nice.
I've had husband and wife come in. I've had partners come in. It's not a regular class, but they'll come to try it together. And then they're like, okay, you stay and I'll just go watch the kids. But to see the bond, to see the trust that you build, because you're wondering, is he stronger than me? Or is she more limber than I am? Can she do the pose better than I am? But we create a very non-competitive space. This is not about who's better, who's stronger, who's more agile. This is about wellness. This is about self-love. This is about self-acceptance. Accept where you are right now. And this is about just being able to be you.
I think from what I've been also reading is that the medical community is taking it more seriously, because I know that they have added Reiki to part of the protocol with cancer treatment. And I've heard that there's some organizations that offer what you do, or people that offer what you do to help people that are actually going through some kind of a medical, I don't want to say crisis, but challenge.
Yes.
And a lot of times people have sports injuries. Do you ever work with them?
I have not worked with anyone with sport injuries, but I have worked with hip replacement students.
Oh, okay.
I've worked with knee replacement students. I've worked with shoulder rotator cuff surgeries students. So I've had a combination. That's the first thing I ask. Are there any injuries in the room?
Yeah.
And then you know what poses to allow someone to go into, because the last thing you want is someone to get hurt.
So there are a lot of people, many people getting replacement surgeries for joints. I imagine that must be, a big part of your clientele.
So it's evolving. One thing that I've found is that anyone with
You're going to say chronic illness?
right, anyone with something like that, they first need self-esteem. Because after a major surgery, people lose that confidence and that self-esteem.
Okay.
And how am I going to rehabilitate myself from this?
Right.
What am I going to do other than PT and OT? Wellness, mindfulness. And when your mind gets stronger, your body gets stronger.
Right.
And that's what I've learned personally. So
it sounds like it's an excellent supplement to PT and OT, meaning
absolutely
physical therapy, occupational therapy. I've had, for instance, you talked about shoulder replacement. I once had a shoulder injury, and I don't want to say anything against physical therapists, because I went to physical therapy and it worked.
Right.
But what it didn't eliminate, it gave me the range of motion, but it did not alleviate the pain.
Right. And I have found, because as a runner, I always have neck and shoulder from, pounding. You pounding on the pavement, you have that chronic pounding in the neck and the shoulder.
Yeah.
I have found through yoga, stretching.
Yes.
Allowing my body to just settle and surrender has helped me tremendously.
Surrender.
Tremendously.
Yeah.
Tremendously. It's so, doctors are recommending yoga as a way to help the body flow and be more fluid and be, instead of going to the gym and being on a treadmill or being on a bike. I'm not saying anything against it. I'm simply advocating for the wellness aspect of yoga, where it allows you to be in tune with your body.
Yeah, and I know that there are different, because you mentioned a couple of different types of yoga. I'm familiar with power yoga I used to do, because it was contrary to what you discussed.
Yes.
It's 30 minutes, not even 25 minutes, and I'm done.
Right.
But something, it created a beautiful body.
High power.
Yeah, very high powered. At 51, I had a better body than I ever had. Really, it's true. It's true. So much so, I developed such a great body that I remember I posed for a book naked. And it was like, I think it was called Real Women 40
Oh.
and Beyond.
Okay.
And by Bob Buchanan.
Okay.
Who's actually been on our show, not about the book, but he's a photographer, and he didn't understand why women had such terrible body image because we didn't do enough yoga. I'm thinking.
I'm going to agree with you on that one.
Yeah, no, I think it does make a difference. You feel so good about yourself.
Yes. When you leave my class, you leave with this sense of self. You leave with a sense of, I did this for me, not the person next to me, not the person in front of me, not the person behind me. I did this 1 hour, 15 minutes for me. And I feel good. My body feels amazing. My head is light. My mind is just easy.
Yeah.
And I just can't wait to flow through my day.
Well, I'm gonna tell people to go to your website, which is
www.innerbeing.yoga.
innerbeing.yoga.
Yes. My studio is located in Peekskill at my home studio. It's on my website.
Okay.
Class schedule is also on the website
Yes.
as well. First class is always free.
Okay.
Because I want people to come and try it out. No, you don't have to be committed to anything other than a free class.
Right.
You refer someone, you also get a free class. And yoga for me makes my heart happy because it's giving something to someone that I was missing, and I just want to pay it forward.
There you go, right?
Yeah.
Yes, and I guess you need to get in the chair if you're doing yoga. You're not afraid of anything.
Nothing.
Yeah, the drill won't bother you.
Nothing.
I know.
I teach my patients how to breathe.
Yeah, breathing. It's
Yes,
key.
yes.
Yes, breathing makes you psychic. But anyway, yoga.
Yes.
You know,
come join me sometime.
I think I will.
You should.
You know, it'll be fun. I've done it before. I just haven't done it recently. I'm getting a little stiff.
That's.
Yeah,
I can loosen you up.
I
Come see me.
I used to be like Gumby. You know, I know what do they say? The muscles have memory.
Yes, muscle memory.
Well, thank you so much, Karen. This was really great. And I'll tell the audience it's Karen Faulkner, Inner Being Yoga. Check her out. You know, she knows her stuff. And look at her. She's beautiful. What the heck? You know, go get beautiful. Take her class. And come back to see me again. I'll have another amazing guest. I really love this job. You know, I just can't get enough of it. Thank you so much for joining. Bye-bye.